The key turned in the lock with a faint scrape, a sound Lena knew by heart, though she always winced at it, as if the door might one day refuse her. She pushed inside, shoulders slumping forward before her coat was even off. The air of the apartment met her like it always did, slightly stale, faintly metallic, as though the radiator and refrigerator had spent the day whispering secrets to each other. She closed the door with her hip, balancing the tote bag on one arm and the flimsy grocery sack on the other. Tonight's groceries were pitiful, a single apple rolling around the bottom of the bag, a box of chamomile tea she had grabbed half out of habit, half out of desperation. No bread, no vegetables, no thought-out dinner plan. Just tea and the apple, as if her body might be persuaded to accept that as proof she was still caring for it. The apartment answered her entrance with silence. Not a peaceful silence, but the kind that pressed down on her ears and ribs at once. Somewhere in the back of her mind, she thought of it as the silence of being unobserved. Nobody to say, "Rough day?" Nobody to roll their eyes at the sorry apple in the grocery sack. Nobody to notice if she disappeared entirely into the beige walls. Her keys clinked into the ceramic bowl by the entryway. That little sound was so sharp in the hush it felt almost embarrassing, like she'd coughed in a church. Lena lingered there, hand hovering over the bowl as if she might pick the keys back up and start over. Go back outside, walk until her legs itch, sit in a cafe until closing, and pretend her solitude was a chose. But the fatigue in her bones said no, and fatigue usually won. She shuffled toward the kitchen. The refrigerator hummed awake as though acknowledging her. She set the apple on the counter, filled the kettle, and placed it on the burner. That first hiss of water heating always startled her, a quick, eager sound, so unlike her own sluggishness. While she waited, she leaned on the counter and looked out the window. The view never changed, but it always felt like something to endure. Across the narrow street was another building, its brick facade lined with tidy windows. Many had blinds drawn, but here and there she caught slices of other lives. A woman watering plants, a man pacing with a phone pressed to his ear, a red towel flung across a fire escape, vivid against the evening's shadows. The kettle began its low rumble. Lena dropped a tea bag into a chipped mug and watched the water bloom golden as she poured. Steam fogged the window briefly, softening the building across the way until it looked like a watercolor. She carried the mug into the living room and sank into the couch with a heaviness that felt less like sitting and more like collapsing. Her phone was waiting, glowing faintly on the coffee table. She knew what it would offer, notifications stacked like invitations she could never quite accept. Group chats she hadn't opened in weeks. Photos of friends smiling at dinners, concerts, vacations. That endless scroll of lives that seemed to have slipped beyond her reach. She unlocked it anyway, thumb moving with muscle memory. The first post was a college friend holding her newborn, captioned with soft declarations of joy. Next was an engagement announcement. Then a birthday dinner, candles glowing, faces tilted toward each other in easy camaraderie. Lena double-tapped out of reflex, leaving little hearts that felt false. She typed congratulations into one comment box, erased it. Typed so happy for you into another, erased that too. Her tea cooled. She held it between her palms, letting the warmth sink into her skin. She thought about texting Mariah Backer, one friend who still extended invitations. Want to try the Ethiopian place Saturday? The last message had read. That was days ago. Lena had said maybe, knowing full well maybe was a delay before no. The silence since then had grown heavy, guilt-ridden, like a letter unopened. On the wall across from her, a collage of photographs looked down like witnesses. A beach trip 2 summers ago. Her mother on the porch with a newspaper shielding her face from the sun. 3 friends crowded into a dim bar booth, cheeks pressed together, eyes bright. In one picture, Lena herself wore a yellow dress, laughing, animated, unself-conscious. That girl looked like someone Lena might admire, someone she no longer knew. Her phone buzzed with a new notification. She didn't check. Instead, she opened her laptop and stared at the blank document that had been waiting for months. She had once promised herself she'd write about her neighborhood. The butcher who always asked about her wheat. The laundromat owner who called everyone sweetheart. The chapel on the corner with its scent of old wood and melted wax. The cursor blinked at her, patient, unjudging. She typed, on Tuesdays the street tasted like tomatoes. Somewhere above me, someone simmered sauce that fogged their windows and made mine ache. She paused. Was that precious? Pretentious? Did it matter? The words at least existed, smooth stones she could hold in her hand. She wrote another line, then another, each one clumsy but real. The apartment, so often indifferent, seemed to soften around her. The lamp's glow felt warmer. Even the hum of the fridge became a kind of accompaniment, steady and present. She lost herself for a while, pouring fragments of thought into sentences, shaping them into paragraphs that might someday belong to a story. When her phone buzzed again, she almost ignored it. But something in her chest urged her to look. It was a message from Mariah, thinking of you. No pressure to respond. If you want soup this weekend, I can bring soup. Lena stared at the words until her vision blurred. No pressure. Such a simple phrase, but it loosened something inside her, like a knot untied. She tapped out a reply before she could overthink it. Soup sounds nice. Sunday? She hit send. There was no confetti, no applause. Just the faint relief of having reached out, however clumsily. The apartment didn't feel less empty, but it felt less hostile. She turned back to her document. The cursor blinked, breathing with her. She wrote about the red towel on the fire escape across the street, realizing with a start that it was her hung there weeks ago, forgotten. When she finally went to bed, the sheets were cool, the room quiet. She lay on her side, one hand over her sternum, like she was guarding something fragile but important. It wasn't happiness, not yet. But it was soup on Sunday. It was a few paragraphs about tomatoes and towels. It was a text sent, a thread tugged toward connection. And for the first time in weeks, she fell asleep without the weight of complete invisibility pressing her down.